Joining me now is Nicole Wolter. She's a job creator. I love job creators because, like, without them, we wouldn't have jobs and things would be a lot worse. So, right now, job creators are expanding their companies like crazy. And she founded her company, HM Manufacturing, in 1979. And now, HM Manufacturing is a leading manufacturer of turnkey power transmission components for the aerospace, automotive, medical, marine, packaging, food and beverage processing industries. Nicole joined her company in 2009, working from the ground floor up in a variety of ways, and now she's president and CEO. That means she runs the company. Nicole, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Now, when you said you started from the bottom and worked your way up, these are always great stories. You start with the company at the bottom and you get up to president and CEO, which means you're the boss. So, like, how did you start and how did that happen?
So my father founded the company in 1979. I was never supposed to be in the business, which is very interesting. I kind of came upon it by happenstance and a recession and not being able to find a job. So I literally had to start from the ground up. I was in shipping, receiving. From that point, I went to inventory, did cost accounting, quoting, estimating, purchasing. You name it, I've been doing it. I've been through every facet of the business and literally every department. So it was a good thing for me, so that when I got into this role that I am in now, I'm able to help in every facet.
So you basically started at the bottom, started out sweeping the floor, worked in every department. Now you run the company. So the big lie that the Democrats have been telling us for a year and a half is that the Trump tax cuts were only for big rich companies and only for the one percenters, and it didn't matter to average families. It was actually going to cost them more money, and it didn't matter to small businesses either. What impact has Trump's tax cuts, Nicole, had on your business? And give me as much tangible, real information as you can.
Absolutely. It has been tremendous for HM Manufacturing. We have been able to reinvest with capital equipment. We've been able to hire. We just this year purchased $500,000 in capital equipment. That means it's 3 new machines, 3 new jobs. Everyone received raises, bonuses, incentives such as gift cards if their productivity and efficiency rates were up. Every little bit of that trickled down to all the employees that have had stagnant wages for a long time coming out of a recession and not really being able to give back to our employees. So this helped tremendously. We've added jobs, like I said. We are in a position now with new industry that we are attacking to purchase more equipment, which means a couple new jobs as well. Another thing that I was saying yesterday in D.C. at the Latino Coalition was that we still pay 100% health care for our employees, and I know that is a very rare thing. So to be able to have all these cost savings and be able to have the benefits from the Trump administration's tax cuts has just been tremendous for the employees, and they're very happy.
Well, let's get to one of the things you mentioned, which is you spent $500,000 this year on capital equipment. So in the past, right, under the old tax plan, as a business owner, when you made a capital investment, that was written off that was amortized over a 5 to 7 year period. So you could take part of it each year. And so that factored into your decision because, well, maybe instead of getting 500,000, I can only write some off. So I'll get 100 now, then I'll budget 100 for 2021. And, we've all been through that on however you want to scale it, whether it's 100,000 or 10,000. We've all been through that. Now, right, you buy $500,000 worth of capital equipment and you get to write the whole thing off now. I mean, that is a huge incentive, isn't it?
It's massive, especially in manufacturing. Just because the equipment is so specialized, it's extremely expensive. And to be able to grow in this economy, you have to be able to purchase these types of machinery to keep advancing with the technology. So for us, this was massive.
And so just so people understand, So you buy this $500,000, which means that you had to buy it from suppliers. Which means that they either had it in inventory or they had to make it. So they get money from
Right.
the inventory. It also had to be shipped to you, right? So somebody had to put it on a truck or however it was transported, probably by truck. Somebody had to do that, pay the truck driver to get it there. So what people don't realize is every time one of these things happen, it employs more Americans. It puts more people or workers. It puts more money into the economy. And then you get the equipment in. Well, you spent $500,000 on it. You got to do something with it, which means you got to hire more people to run the equipment. You got to buy whatever the raw materials are for the capital equipment in order to make what you're making. Then you have salespeople that have to go sell them. They get commission. Then somebody has to buy them. They have to employ somebody for buying it. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And this is what the Bernie Sanderses and the Elizabeth Warrens that have never run a company, they don't get it. They've never signed the front of a check. They sign backs of checks, or they get direct deposit money from the government. Like Bernie Sanders, never had a job in his life. So they don't understand this, how this economy works and what this Trump tax cut has done, right?
And they don't. And it's very frustrating, especially with what's going on now. Like I was saying earlier, I was at the Latino Coalition. I just was so blown away that one of the topics was socialism. And I can't believe that this is something that we're talking about, that we're investing our time in trying to diffuse, because this country was never based for that. We are a capitalistic and capitalism society, and I don't know at what point this became a thing. It is just maddening. And yes, it is something that is frustrating. It is a trickle-down effect. Everyone is needed for every part of the circle, whether, like I was saying, you purchase capital equipment and then someone has to bring it in. You have to pay that, all your vendors and suppliers. That's what keeps the economy going.
What else have you been able to do as a result of these tax cuts? And as you tell me what else you've done, I want you to just walk our listeners, if you would, Nicole, through the decision-making process that led you to do that. Do you mind getting it without sharing anything confidential? Just a little of the detail so you can draw the line between the tax cut and the resulted action taken by your company.
So one of the things that we are very passionate about is the skills gap, especially in manufacturing. We need help. So being able to have this extra capital, we've been able to go to these schools that have manufacturing programs or startup programs. We've been able to reinvest into the community by bringing on these manufacturing programs at these high schools, whether it's purchasing some machinery, getting these kids involved and having an advisory program. And what we were able to do with that was have shadow programs, internships that are paid internships, $15, $16 an hour, which again is unheard of. But since everyone is pushing for the $15 minimum wage, just flipping burgers, you have to incentivize these kids that, hey, you could still get a career and you'll be able to get up to $25, $30, $35 an hour. But you still got to start somewhere, and you have to have a tangible skill. So with the tax cuts and being able to have that kind of extra capital, being able to reinvest in the community and getting these kids internships for 5-6 weeks that will turn into apprenticeship programs that you shadow each department in the facility out in the shop. And then you become NIM certified, which is like a diploma in the manufacturing industry. And you could either come work for me at the end or you go to another company that's hiring. And just being able to, like I was saying, reinvest and get these kids a skill. You don't really have to go to college. I know everyone keeps pushing that. But that's a very big thing that we're doing.
And so you were able to take the resources, take the cash. This is basically cash. Take the cash that before the Trump tax cut, you would have paid in federal taxes. So you pay less taxes on the same income, as an example. You pay less money, let's call it, for the sake of argument, $100,000 less, or $200,000, whatever the number is. And then you say, okay, we have an extra $200,000 that we just have, and now let's invest it. Let's take that. Let's take 100 of that thousand, and let's put it into supporting manufacturing, vocational opportunities in high school for kids that have an interest in it, because then we can make that into the high school now, then they'll get trained, and then as we grow, then that is a potential job applicant, a job pool for us. But we were only able to do that because we paid less money to the federal government. So we took the money, we invested in the jobs programs at the schools, which then benefits those students who get a skill. Some of them are going to be hired by your company, HM Manufacturing, and some hired by other companies. That's what you did with the money. So you're creating a skill level for people to get a better job. I mean, if people could understand, Nicole, this is what this tax cut has done. And it has nothing to do with benefiting the rich or the 1%. It's all nonsense. I mean, the money is not put under the rug. You don't go on vacation with it. You reinvest it in your company. And that is the thing that the socialists out there have no clue as to how this works. You have to run a business like I do, meet payroll, deal with the regulations, deal with the various government entities you have to deal with, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do in order to grow. We're with Nicole Wolter. She is the president and CEO of a manufacturing company, HM Manufacturing. She makes transmission parts for various mobile industries. Nicole, where does your company go from here?
It's a very good question. We are going to diversify more into the aerospace and defense industries while keeping the rest of our industries in line. Like I said, we are looking to purchase more equipment. We are looking to keep hiring. We are growing. We are expanding in this economy. It is great. We are excited. We are very thrilled with all that President Trump is doing with his administration and all these policies. And we're going to keep fighting for it. I've been a very big advocate with the Job Creators Network, just trying to push the same message down to everyone to understand what the benefits are to these tax cuts. That it isn't just like you were saying for the rich. It's for everybody. It's for the employees. It's for the community. It's for all of us at the end of the day, and we all benefit from that. So I'm still going to keep out there, marching around and hope that it sinks in.
Well, listen, I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you're not only hiring people, but you're training people and young people, because that's the thing. I mean, today, college is not for everybody. It's not like when I was a younger man, it was kind of like you were supposed to go to college because your father didn't or whatever. Now it's very different. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there that don't necessarily correlate to a traditional college degree. And the fact that you've taken some of your money and invested it into local high schools, giving them the money to set the training programs up to provide young people that might be interested in that with a skill where they can come out of high school and get a job and get paid decent money is a great thing.
Thank you. We're very proud of that.
All right. Nicole Wolter, we're out of time for this segment. I really want to thank you for being with us, Nicole Wolter. She is president and CEO of HM Manufacturing. Nicole, I didn't ask you, where's your company based out of?
We are based out of Wakanda, Illinois, which is about 35 miles northwest of Chicago.
All right, out of Chicago. Just in 30 seconds, what are you guys doing about the crime there?
Oh, gosh. It is a nightmare over here. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what they're doing. This state is in absolute peril. If I could jump the border to Wisconsin or Indiana, I would absolutely do so. With what's his face, J.B. Pritzker, gosh, only knows what he's up to with the minimum wage hike and all the legalization he's trying to do with marijuana, amongst everything else with the driver's tax on top of the miles tax. We're broke, and I don't know why they think that spending our money is going to make it any easier for them.
What's the miles tax?
So what J.B. Pritzker has decided to do is start taxing people based on miles.
No, Nicole, we're out of time. I really want to thank you for being with us. Nicole Wolter, thank you,
Thank you
so much. Illinois has to pay the miles tax, but she did get the Trump tax cut, and she's growing her business. And that's it here on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Joe Morrissey and the Fighting Joe Morrissey Show coming up next on most John Fredericks Radio networks.